My name is Reverend Ron, and I'm glad you're here today. So you did so well on February's affirmation. I was hoping you could just kind of carry the rest of the talk and maybe just shout it back to me. Ready, set, go. Not yet?
I think it's all you.
Thank you, God.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, God.
Yeah, thank you, God. So the topic, as you have heard, is when we glow together. Now that assumes a couple of things. That assumes that we recognize that we as individuals are glowing. It's really tough to glow with others when we're not sure of our own light. Okay, and so seems like yesterday, last week we talked about the importance of our individual glow and lighting the world up. I encircled us with candles. And that's just going to signify if any time during the talk you start to doubt whether or not you are glowing, whether or not we are glowing together, just take a look at the candles and let that be your visual reminder that simply by being, you really are glowing. The Science of Mind principle that is up for us right now in the month of February is because there is one life expressing as many, our individual lights are never separate. And we recognize and honor in one another strengthens the whole. And what we recognize in one another strengthens the whole. So when I can recognize the light in you, it strengthens your light, perhaps, if you choose to accept that, but it also strengthens my light. Mark Napo, in the Book of Awakening, said, imagine that each of us is a spoke in an infinite wheel. Right? There's that teaching symbol again, that circle. And though each spoke is essential in keeping the wheel whole, no two spokes are the same. The rim of that wheel is our living sense of community, family, and relationships. But the hub, where all of the spokes join, is the one center where all souls meet. And that unexpected wholeness, that moment of unity, is the atom of God. So we are talking about light, but I thought that he did a beautiful job of explaining how all of these unique individual expressions of light come together, strengthen each other, and create a brighter, more profound light than any one of us ever could have done on our own. I've talked about when I share my light, I don't lose anything, right? We know that God is in all as all, but never is God diminished. So it is with light. No matter how many people stand in a room, that light up there is emitting at the same brightness. Now, depending on how many people, we may think that somehow there's less light. Maybe there's shadows. The light is still present. And that's going to be the reoccurring theme this morning. Moshe Davis, a rabbi and scholar, said, a candle is a small thing, but a candle can light another. And see how its own light increases. As a candle gives its flame to the other, you are such a light. there's, I say, because Spirit is leading me in a different direction. So here we go. We look over there, wherever there is. Different city, different state, and we see darkness. We might even feel that darkness. That can create a dimming effect within us. Effect isn't real. The light is still there. But as an awakened soul, we have a call. We see the darkness, we acknowledge the darkness, and we know that light is possible. So we go in search of that light. We look at the neighbor helping the neighbor, feeding those that are otherwise unfed, caring for those that perhaps feel lost. That's the power of the light. And as those loving beings come together to provide that care, the light brightens. In science, they say that when two flames come together, it creates a bigger flame because there's more oxygen being used. There's a deeper concentration of light when we share ours with another. And pretty soon, we no longer are as aware of that darkness because we are standing in the light. We are being the light. We're sharing the light. And the darkness cannot help but recede. There's a quote, "The light shineth, and the darkness comprehended it not." And we see this in all gatherings. When like minds gather, there's a synergy that takes place. There's a ease of conversation. There's an open-heartedness, and the light shines brighter. You know, the lighthouse came into being at the perfect time. Wasn't an accident. Wasn't luck. It certainly came into being at the right time. Because it offers a glowing light of love. We offer a glowing light of love. We are the lighthouse. Each one of us making that conscious choice to glow together, to feel that love together, to heal in that love together. Think of the power of a GoFundMe. I saw one recently, a fire in Eugene, and 2 houses were severely damaged. One was a family with a newborn, a young family just starting out, lost everything. The neighbor, whose house also caught on fire, started a GoFundMe for their neighbor. Because they saw the need. They saw the ability to shine their light where it appeared there was darkness. And even over the internet, through social media, that light transmits I was so touched by the fact that someone in need themselves stepped up and created an avenue for others to support. And I gave, because I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to experience that glowing as a virtual community. These people that I don't know. We feel that also when we come together and meditate. That's why we offer a pre-service meditation. There is a certain power that is realized when we meditate together. It is that glowing up. It is that glowing together. It is that single flame joining with other flames and creating a flame that is larger, more intense, brighter than what we are individually. We see it in organizations that help others. Even where it can appear as though there's this happening and that happening and that happening. This last week, some of us had the opportunity to do some service work. And we did that service work at a nonprofit called Bags of Love. I knew of Bags of Love because Ken has volunteered there for about 5 years. And so I went in there feeling like this was something I already knew. I already knew what to expect. Can I have some water, please? And so I had a what do I want to call that? Preconceived notion of what I was going to experience, what it was going to feel like, and what I had to do right after. I was unprepared. In our in the introduction that they gave us, they said we do each bag with one child in mind. I thought, okay, sounds neat. Whatever. What's next? Let's get busy. I gotta get back to work. And what we did is after a tour of this ginormous warehouse, Ken has told me how big it is, and I still didn't believe it. There's a joke there, but I'm gonna keep it.
We're all adults.
I'll be here all week.
You're a 12-year-old.
I am a 12-year-old. And yet I was struck by the enormity and all of the individuals moving about, doing their seemingly individual tasks. And then we got the opportunity to create some bags, and we were paired with a regular Bags of Love volunteer. And so we got a card. I did a bag. The first bag was for a 2-year-old unhoused little boy. And it gave you all the specifics, size, what they liked, and that sort of thing. And then you collected all of the contents for the bag. And they are so detailed, so specific. This size is in this box, so to speak, over here. You go through, you make your selections, try to find little outfits that go together and that would be cute for this little boy that I started to care about and I didn't really understand. I didn't even know his name. We then went and got some books. He liked cars. I was so excited because I found a little book about cars. Went and found a coat, knowing that this little boy was unhoused. I wanted to make sure that it was warm and water repellent. Maybe he is out on the streets at times. How could he stay warm? And most importantly, this feeling of love just overtook me, and I realized I loved this little boy. I don't know this little boy. Doesn't matter. I loved him. And then I did a bag for an 11-year-old girl who's also unhoused. And we went through the similar process. But now because she's an 11-year-old, I'm picking out things that look grown up, but couldn't be interpreted as sexy or something, because now I feel like I'm her dad or her guardian. And I want her to be safe and still relish being a young girl before she's already growing up probably much too quickly. She wanted eyelashes and makeup and things like that, and she got some colored lip glosses. But I share that to hopefully illustrate this point that even though we have individual lives going about our individual tasks during our own kind of made-up days, we're one. We're connected. We're still glowing together. And all of those bags of love recipients, all of those children, all of those young adults are brought into that light simply by having that awareness that this was even possible. But just like everything in life, it's a choice. There's a sense of willingness that we have to choose to engage, to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to allow ourselves to open up, to allow ourselves to care enough about ourselves to enter into these loving acts of service, of compassion, of just being present, allowing our light to be that guide, to be that beacon for others. So in closing, I wanted to share another quote. Well, I'll get to the quote. This Tuesday is Random Acts of Kindness Day. Now, we've all heard about it. How many of us actually do it? Good. 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 That was the next question. How often do you do it? Right? It's a great exercise for that givingness muscle. Especially when we're feeling depleted, when we're feeling dimmed. As we give, that feeds that flame. That oxygen surges, the flame brightens, and we're fanning the flames of another, whoever that recipient is. We've all heard the example of paying it forward, buying the person behind you's coffee. That's one way. Another way is simply to give money, to make eye contact with someone that you pass on the street and say hello. And I'm surprised at how hard that is sometimes. And it's not.
You don't look them in the eye just because they're asking for money. You don't ignore them all day.
That's right.
Yeah.
The power of looking someone in the eye and simply acknowledging, I see you. Hello. It's so powerful. So the quote I wanted to share as I close this out is from the Dalai Lama. And he is talking, as you probably aren't too surprised, about meditation. Specifically meditating together. He says, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I thank God for another day. I remember the importance of kindness and compassion, wishing good for others. I remember that everything is interrelated, setting my intention for the day, that this day is meaningful. It's interesting how many times we can be asked, what'd you do last weekend or last week? Oh, I don't know. Something, probably. Right? In other words, it's easy to go through our days just ticking things off a list and not allowing that day to be meaningful. And so my invitation for you this week is to allow yourself to be present and to do something meaningful. In fact, I'm going to pause right there and open it up. If anybody would like to share, what's one thing that you commit to do this week that is meaningful, that is kind, that is for another? Whatever comes up, I invite you just to speak it into the room.
I like to feed people's parking meters, and I like to leave little notes just around town about, you're awesome,
Beautiful.
and things that are refreshing.
Beautiful.